Good afternoon from the Ruby Room at Cornell Public Library. I'm Miss Jennifer, and for today's Tinker Tuesday, we're going to make chromatography flower bouquets. So as always, I'm first going to go over what materials you need. You are going to need coffee filters. You are going to need washable markers. These will work, the Crayola markers, but the markers that work the best are these Mr. Sketch. They're scented. So they have that smell, but those, for whatever reason, whatever composition they are, work the best. But any water-based washable marker will also do the same thing. The alcohol ones will not work. So washable markers, Mr. Sketch works best. You're going to need a piece of paper. Can be any scrap paper. And you're going to need, I recommend clear cups because then you can see what's going on. But you're going to need just a tiny bit of water in your clear cup. So you can see closer, it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of water. So those are materials. First, I'm going to go over how to set up doing, to make your chromatography flower paper. You will take one coffee filter. Now what you're going to want to do is where the natural kind of circle is in your coffee filter, you're going to want to take your marker and go around that. So make a big circle. So you can use whatever colors you want, but black is going to have the most vibrant change because, of course, you know, the whole point of chromatography, which we will get into at the end, is that it's going to separate the colors so you can see all the colors that make that color. So black, of course, has got all the colors, so that's going to be the most vibrant. So I'm going to take my marker. I'm just going to go around in a big circle. And then, of course, I'm also going to flip it so it's on both sides. I'm just going to gently go over the circle again. And it'll bleed, so that's why we have the paper. But I've just outlined that circle. Set that aside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up, and then we're going to take a closer look, and we're going to do a little time lapse, and we're going to watch the colors slowly spread. But you can repeat this as many times as you want. If you just want one flower, you would just do it once. The other material you're going to need, which I didn't grab, is you're going to either need paper, green paper, or if you want to have white paper that you just marker or crayon green, because we're going to make little stems for our flower. What I'm going to be using is pipe cleaner. So if you use paper, you'll have to use tape too in order to kind of make that flower. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold our coffee filter in half, and then we're going to make a cone shape so that we have a tip here, because the goal is that this part is only the part in the water. We do not want the colored part to touch the water at all, which is why we put so little water in here. Because what's going to happen is that the bottom is going to soak up the water because of capillary action, which we've talked about in other videos. The water will slowly go up, and once it hits the marker, it'll keep moving and drawing that color upwards. So if the marker touches the water, the color will all go into the water. So we want that capillary action where the water goes upwards. So make sure that your marker doesn't touch it. If your water changes color, you know it has. You need to start over. So I'm going to go ahead and gently, that's why we have the cone shape, so it kind of holds it up. So a loose cone shape, and then I'm just going to push it down till it's barely touching the water. And it's already trying to soak it up. So we're going to take a closer look and do a bit of a time lapse and watch this do its thing. All right. All right, welcome back. So here's what my cup looks like towards the end. Once you've gotten pretty much the color towards the tips, you're going to take it out of your water, carefully unfold it, and you're going to place it on a piece of paper to dry. So, a little close-up of my paper. I'm going to set that aside to dry. I've already got some others that I did previously. You're going to want your pipe cleaners, or you're going to want your paper and your tape. Pipe cleaners will be the most easiest to use. And you're going to want scissors, which I didn't grab. So I will grab scissors, and then we will work on making our flower, and then we'll come back and do the science. So 1 second. Okay. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take one of your coffee filters, fold it in half, fold it again, and then keep folding it till you have a nice little triangle, like so. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to gently round the edges so it's more flower shaped. Like so. Then you're going to unfold it, and you have this lovely little flower edges. And then what you want to do is you want to kind of fold it in the middle and kind of pinch it like so. You're going to take a pipe cleaner, you're going to wrap it around that pinched bottom, nice and tight. I'm going to double over my pipe cleaner so both ends are wrapped around the very top. Alright. Then I'm going to gently twist down to the bottom. From here I could add paper flowers, paper leaves I mean. And then so here is our first flower. And then you can make as many of these and repeat the process we did. I did a hyperlapse, so it won't really happen that quickly for you. It'll take about, depending on your materials and the markers you use, anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, so keep an eye on it. That's why I did the hyperlapse, so you guys didn't have to sit around for 15 to 20 minutes of watching it slowly creep up. But here's some other ones that I did. Definitely, I think the black is the most interesting, but you can play around with different colors and make a whole bouquet. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat this process that I did with the first flower until I have a lovely group of them. And then I'm going to do that here in a second. And the very last step is we're actually going to talk about the science behind this, like what is chromatography. All right, stay tuned for that. Okay, so we're ready to talk about the science behind our experiment. So chromatography, or color writing, comes from the Greek word chroma, meaning color, and graph, which means to write. So it is the separation of a mixture by passing a solution through a medium. In our case, what we did was that we had our separating the colored ink in the markers with water and coffee filters. So as we place the coffee filter in the water, we see the water start to move up the coffee filter, and that is through a process called capillary action, which is the same thing in plants. And we've done other videos on that, so check out those if you want more information about capillary action. But as the coffee filter starts soaking up the water, it eventually hits our markers. So when it hits the markers, we start seeing the chromatography in action. So since different color pigments have different weights, they are carried along at different speeds. So something heavier is going to take longer and harder to be pushed through than something that is lighter, which is why in our, especially in the case with the black marker, you see so many colors, is that the pigments have different weights. So red on one end of the spectrum is much heavier than, say, blue or any other color on the other end. So that's why you see that array. So they end up in different places along our coffee filter. So one can use, there's different substances you can use. We used water, but you could also use gas to do chromatography, to carry the color. And where the tint ends, it shows you the different pigments or colors that make up that color. So black is comprised of all the colors. So that's why you see such a great array of colors on your coffee filter at the end, because they get separated out. Whereas a more simple color, say like blue, you might see some green in there and maybe some yellow as it starts pulling through. And of course, those lighter colors towards the red end are heavier. So you're going to see those first because it's hard for the water to drag. So that's how that works. And that's why you see so many different colors pulled through. Even though we started out with a black or a red, whatever color marker you chose, you'll see a different color at the end. It won't be the same as when you get started. So where else do we use chromatography? It is widely used in biochemistry, and it is used to figure out ingredients that make up a particular scent or flavor. And it also is used to find traces of pollutants in drinking water. So I hope you guys, so here's my end result of my lovely chromatography bouquet. So I hope you guys enjoyed making this. You can think of maybe something going on Sunday that you might want to give someone your chromatography bouquet to. And I hope you enjoy this Tinker Tuesday. Next week, we're going to be making homemade butter. So stay tuned for that the following week. So I will see you then. Bye.